Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Beginner English podcast. Today, we have an inspiring story about Nelson Mandela and his fight for freedom in South Africa. Along the way, we'll learn new words together. Have you ever heard of Mandela? Leave us a comment and let us know. Let's get started.
Hi, listeners. I'm excited to join you for this episode. We'll talk about real history and help you understand important vocabulary in simple English. Let's dive right into our story about apartheid and courage.
Apartheid was a system of legal racial segregation in South Africa. Now let's explain that word segregation. Segregation means keeping different groups of people apart, especially by race or color. For example, black and white people had to live in separate areas.
Exactly. Apartheid laws made segregation official. The white minority had power, while black South Africans and others had fewer rights. It's like if a school only allowed certain students in some classrooms because of their background, which is unfair.
That's a good comparison. Segregation hurts societies because it stops people from working and living together. It's important to remember that many countries have had some form of segregation in their history, not only South Africa.
Right. And Mandela's story is important today because it shows how people can challenge unfair systems. How do you feel when you hear about segregation? Think about your own city. Are there still places where people are kept apart?
Nelson Mandela joined the African National Congress, or ANC, in 1944 to fight for black South Africans' rights. The ANC wanted more legal inclusion, which means more equal rights for everyone.
At first, the ANC worked quietly, but in 1949, they started a program of action. This included boycotts. Let's pause and explain. Boycott means refusing to buy or use something as a protest. For example, people might not ride buses to protest unfair rules.
That's a clear explanation. Boycotts are powerful because when many people join, it can change the way businesses or governments act. Have you heard of a boycott in your own country?
Along with boycotts, the ANC used civil disobedience. Let's explain that civil disobedience is when people peacefully refuse to follow laws they think are unfair. For example, if a law says you can't sit in a certain place because of your race, you sit there anyway to protest.
That's right. Civil disobedience is like saying, I won't follow this rule because it's wrong, even if I get into trouble. It's a peaceful way to create change.
Mandela became the volunteer-in-chief for the ANC's campaign against unjust laws. His leadership inspired many others to join in civil disobedience. Can you think of a time when breaking a rule was the right thing to do?
As Mandela saw the government using force against peaceful protests, he realized that violence was inevitable. Let's talk about that word. Inevitable means something is sure to happen, like rain after dark clouds appear.
Yes, Mandela understood that change would not come easily. Sometimes, if people in power do not listen, conflict becomes inevitable. It's a difficult situation. No one wants violence, but sometimes people feel they have no other choice.
That's a tough lesson. In our lives, too, sometimes problems seem inevitable, but we can still try peaceful solutions first.
In 1961, Mandela helped form Umkhonto we Sizwe, or MK. They started sabotage campaigns. Now, sabotage means damaging or destroying something on purpose so it doesn't work. For example, breaking a machine so a factory can't run.
That's right. MK was a paramilitary group. Let's explain paramilitary. It means a group that is organized like an army, but is not a country's official military. They train to fight for their cause.
Mandela helped MK get training and support. He believed this was necessary because peaceful protests had failed. Do you think violence can ever be justified in the fight for justice? Why or why not?
Mandela was arrested for his actions. He was offered freedom if he renounced armed struggle. Let's explain. Renounce. To renounce means to officially say you will not do or support something anymore, like quitting a club and promising never to return.
Mandela refused to renounce his beliefs. He said, "Only free men can negotiate." This shows his strong character. Sometimes, keeping your principles is more important than your own comfort or freedom.
That's a powerful message. In real life, we may have to stand up for what we believe, even if it's hard. Mandela's example teaches us about courage and integrity.
Mandela said the struggle was not only for the oppressed, but also for the oppressors. Let's explain oppressoron. Oppressor is someone who holds others down and takes away their freedom, like a bully who won't let others speak.
He also wrote about prejudice. That's when people have unfair opinions about others because of their race, religion, or nationality. Prejudice stops us from seeing people as individuals.
Mandela mentioned narrow-mindedness. That means not being willing to accept new ideas or people. If you're narrow-minded, you don't try to understand others. Let's think. How can we avoid prejudice and narrow-mindedness in our lives?
After 28 years in prison, Mandela was released in 1990. He became president of the ANC and later South Africa. He won the Nobel Peace Prize for ending apartheid. His actions changed the world.
Mandela continued to help others even after retiring. He started charities and spoke about justice. His legacy is as great as Gandhi or Martin Luther King Jr. Now, let's pause. What does succumb to mean?
Succumb to means to die from something, like a disease. Mandela succumbed to respiratory problems in 2013. His life reminds us that one person can make a big difference.
Let's review today's words. First, segregation, the separation of groups. For example, the law enforced segregation in schools.
Boycott means refusing to buy something as protest. Example, the workers started a boycott of the company.
Civil disobedience is peaceful refusal to obey unfair laws. Example, they practiced civil disobedience by sitting in the front seats.
Inevitable means something will surely happen. Example, rain was inevitable after dark clouds appeared.
Sabotage means to damage something on purpose. Example, the group planned sabotage against the factory.
Paramilitary describes a group trained like soldiers. Example, the paramilitary force wore uniforms.
Renounce means to give up something officially. Example, she renounced her old beliefs.
Oppressor is someone who controls or abuses others. Example, the oppressor refused to give people rights.
Prejudice is an unfair opinion about others. Example, prejudice can hurt communities.
Narrow-mindedness means not accepting different ideas. Example, narrow-mindedness leads to misunderstanding.
Succumb to means to die from something. Example, he succumbed to illness after many years.
Now it's your turn. Think about the story of Nelson Mandela. Have you ever stood up for something you believe is right? Or have you seen someone fight against unfair rules? Share your story with us in the comments or with a friend.
Your experience matters and can inspire others. Even small actions can make a difference, just like in Mandela's story. What steps can you take in your life to support fairness and equality?
That's all for today's episode. Remember, learning English is a journey. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Each one helps you improve. We hope you enjoyed the story and learned new words.
Keep practicing English every day, even 5 minutes can help. Try reading stories, listening to podcasts, or talking to friends. Stay curious and never give up. See you next time on our podcast.